Access to the Monte zone will be granted shortly. Please stand by.
Friday night. It's 8 o'clock. It's the Monte Zone. Yay!
Yay! We're back.
We're back, baby. And it worked. Right, now we're trying something new this evening. We're not only streaming live across the internet on YouTube, but we're also streaming this to Facebook. So, you know what I'm like with technology. So, whether this actually works and whether it actually holds together, I don't know. We will see. Anyway, we will see. But But we are back for another season of the Monte Zone with my co-host G-Star. Good evening, G.
Hiya.
How you doing?
Good to be back. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yes, not bad, not bad. I've noticed we've already got a little bit of lag, but
Yeah.
we'll soldier through. It's doing 2 streams at once. This could be pushing it. Are you keeping an eye on Facebook?
I am indeed. So, unfortunately, I won't be keeping an eye on YouTube because it appears that if I change across the platforms, I lose the Facebook one. So I'm going to just keep my eye on the Facebook, see if anybody joins us on there. At the moment, I'm not quite understanding. It looks like it's just me by myself on my lonesome.
Oh no, that's not good. Right, well, in chat so far, we've got my Wrench, Smiler Rainbow, good evening, Smiler. And she's saying good evening to all the zoners out there. We got Dan M, who's joined us, come back for season 2. And we've got Becky, good evening to you. She says good evening to us. So, yes.
Good evening, guys. What is good, though, is that I'm watching the Facebook, and I'll just show you it. And you can still see the chat on there that everybody's doing.
Yes, you can, yes.
Which is good.
It's good.
And the subtitles as well for the harder hearing.
Oh, well, we'll see how it deals with my Plymothian accent, won't we?
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
And we might also have to watch our language as well.
Well, I do try. I do try. Good evening to Daniel as well. Good evening, sir. Glad to have you here. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
We've had a long break. We've actually come up with a plan for this season of interesting things to talk about. So we are a little bit.
Yeah.
We've put some work into it this time.
On that note, I basically, let me just find it. I have a video that I would like to share with both Monte and you guys.
Ooh.
And it's just a little bit of a video about season 2.
Oh, cool. Whoa. Very good.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. Okay. Yeah, very good. I like that. Yeah, so that's some of the topics, a sneak preview of some of the topics we're going to be discussing this season. Yes, Dan doesn't think it's going to be able to subtitle Jana.
I don't know who you're talking about there. I'm not a Jana.
No, but I certainly am. So yeah, Facebook's gonna struggle on that one.
Although when I drink, I sound like a Jana.
I have to say, well done with that. Gee, that was great. Could you send me the raw video? I'd like to keep that.
Yeah, and I'll upload it onto the Facebook site after the stream as well.
Yeah, and we'll put it up on the YouTube channel as well. That's great.
I just had a bit of fun with that today.
Yeah, so I can see what you've been doing today.
Yeah. Well, I thought
there's me.
I
made a slight tweak to the intro, and there's you. You've created a whole a whole advert. It's great. A whole trailer.
Yeah, I really liked what you did to the opening titles as well, though. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I just tweaked them slightly. I'm going to add some more things to it, but yeah, it's getting there. It's getting a bit better.
Yeah. It's all been a bit of a rush. Even though we've had a nice summer break, it's all been a bit of a rush.
It always is, though, isn't it? It always is.
Yeah.
So that leads us to this evening and tonight's topic. And as you can tell from our backdrop, we're shivering, we're cold because we're at the bottom of the world. We're in Antarctic. We're in those icy realms, and that's what we're going to be talking about this evening.
Certainly is. All the mysteries of
Antarctica.
So on that note, did you want to start off by showing the guys where Antarctica is?
Yeah. I was going to say I could bring up
because let us know in chat, guys, whether you think it's in the north or the south.
Oh yes, I probably just gave that away with my. Yeah.
Did you say that? I wasn't listening.
Oh, that's all right. There we go. There.
And
that's
and
us.
Dan, you'd be pleased to know that I didn't spend a penny on that trailer. So no budget spent yet. All the budget's being saved for our night stay in Jamaica Inn.
Yes.
Where we'll be filming throughout the night to see if we, in one of the most haunted locations in the United Kingdom, we'll be staying a night there and filming as the Men in Black.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So here's us in the UK, and Antarctica is it up or is it down? It's down. There it is. It's quite big, isn't it? When you look at it,
it's very, very big.
When you look at it in Google Earth like that, and you see how much area it takes up, and you look at, say, the United States, you know, it's a lot bigger than the United States. It's bigger than Australia. It's a fair size, isn't it? You don't realise how big it is.
Yep. You know, the other interesting thing is that it's technically not owned by anybody.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh. Dan M says he's been there.
Has he really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, we're going to want to hear about that. And some of your experiences, Dan, actually setting foot on this thing. Pretty cold, I'd imagine. Pretty cold.
I mean, obviously, there's countries that have laid claim to certain areas of Antarctica. Yeah, but it technically, it can't be classed. What I kind of meant is it can't be classed as a continent because nobody's ever lived there.
Well, it's a continent. I mean, that's just a landmass, isn't it? But yes, I mean, nobody can actually claim the continent for themselves because you can't permanently set up, live there. Yeah, I see. Yes,
that's kind of what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, you have to obtain permits, don't you? And they only let so many people on there each year.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about that in a bit. Sort of explain where that comes from and what you'd have to do if you wanted to go to the place of Antarctica.
Yeah, maybe Dan, you could tell us how easy you found it.
It's not only big in size, it's big in subject matter because there's quite a few topics that we could talk about in terms of Antarctica, but it's just exhaustive. So even tonight, I haven't been able to choose, or we won't be able to cover all of them. And what we will cover very briefly. But I mean, it's quite an exhaustive subject. So it's as big as it is in size as well.
Yeah. So talking about ownership of Antarctica, I do have a little graph that shows who's laid claim to what? There we go. Bosh. Bear with me. I've got a lot of tabs to share tonight, so...
Yeah, I think I'll be struggling a little bit later on as well.
So there you go. That shows who has laid claim to what in Antarctica. As you can see, the United Kingdom's claim, which is this pink wedge here, is also being claimed by Argentina, and most of it has been claimed by Chile as well. A large part of it's been claimed by Chile as well. That's basically because Argentina and Chile were partners of Germany during World War II, and so they agreed a pact with Germany to interrupt the United Kingdom's claim over Antarctica and its bases. So that's why all these are layered up like that. And we've got this unclaimed section down here that nobody's claimed that. Nobody wants that bit.
Which is probably about the size of Europe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This chunk the size of Europe, nobody wants to lay claim to it. So recently, ironically, considering we decided that we were going to do this episode today, last week, I think it was last week, the biggest YouTuber in the world, PewDiePie, released a video. Oh, how's this going to work? Is this going to work? There we go. It worked. That he's taking.
Just thinking about that.
Yeah, hopefully you can see that. He's laying claim to Antarctica. I don't know if I can. Well, you can see. Oh, there you go. He talks about the bit.
What is? And then you're like, but what is this? What is white? No one owns the white part of Antarctica. Are you getting this? If Norway can grab such a huge piece, then I, Felix Kjellberg, leader of Bro Army. That's right, Army Nation. We are taking Antarctica. It's mine now. At first.
So PewDiePie's decided that he's claiming that unclaimed section, that sort of Europe-sized section of Antarctica, and his 100 million viewers, subscribers are backing his takeover of Antarctica. So, that's just a little comedy bit. I just thought that was quite funny that should happen to come up the week that we decided to talk about Antarctica. So
yeah, well, the best of luck to him.
Best of luck. Yeah.
I don't think it's as simple as being connected to YouTube and how many people are backing him on YouTube.
No,
but on the subject of YouTube, guys, don't forget to like as usual, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And on the subject of subscribers, we have a few numbers away from 100, which we really wanted to get to. So we're still going to ask you very, very nicely and very sweetly, please share the word and share our channel with your friends, with your family members.
I think we got one last week. I was so excited. I was like, yay.
Let's aim for 7 this evening before the stream ends.
Yes.
Help us out, guys. Help us out.
Yeah. Dan says he did a 21-day expedition there, halfway through a 6-month deployment in the Falkland Islands back in 1996.
Yeah. My eyesight's not so great, so I'm trying to look at the.
He says it goes.
Facebook.
It goes without saying it was the coldest place he's ever been to. Which, yeah, I'd like to go there just to experience it. You know, just to. It's a bit like going to the moon, isn't it? Right.
Well, a lot colder. Well, I don't know how. Yeah, it gets really cold on Mars, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, it's interesting that as I say, looking back at the how Antarctica's divided up, a large chunk of it is the United Kingdom, disputed by Argentina, Norway, massive piece of Australia and New Zealand, and a tiny little bit of France. And that's it. That's the only countries that have actually tried to lay claim to Antarctica. Which is
Well, he says he hated it, which I have to agree with him there. I think I probably hate it as well.
yeah.
But I not long had dinner actually, but I'm hungry again now. Listening to what Mickey's saying in chat about going to the chippy,
nice.
It's making me all hungry again.
Very nice.
Evening, Mickey.
Evening, Mickey. Thank you for coming. Yes, so there we go. That's why then, G. Why are we talking about Antarctica this evening?
Yes, well, that's a very good point. So later on in this stream, I'll be sharing a video, which was the first video that I actually came across, I think a couple of years ago, that was something to do with Antarctica and kind of opened my interest about, let's look into if anything else has happened there. And then just opened this of like proliferate of stuff and content and different conspiracy theories and different facts. And the thing was, as you explore into the subject, you find out that there's a lot that's really interesting about Antarctica from a science point of view, and then also from a pseudoscience point of view, and then from a conspiracy theory point of view. So it's like, I'm hoping to give a flavor and a taste of all of them this evening.
So it's a bit like layers of an onion. We'll be peeling back those
pretty
layers.
Much, yeah. A very large continent-sized onion. But some of what we'll cover tonight was considered pseudoscience until scientists have recently proven these theories of phenomenon to be true.
Right.
And that in itself, I think, should give us all pause for thought on what we think is crazy nonsense theories, and instead have more of an open mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to talk a little bit first of all about the Arctic Treaty, which took place in 1959, because I think, one of the things that shrouds instantly Antarctica in mystery is that it's not a very easy place to go to, as an average Joe. Like, most of us will never get to go there. And the other thing is that because it's so remote, because it's so distant, and because it's so difficult for anybody to stay there for any length or period of time, it's only been in like the last sort of 20, 30 years that most of the population of the globe have been even been able to see images of Antarctica, because things like the creation of satellites and Google Earth and all of that has brought us closer to Antarctica and people being able to study it. But back 30 years ago, the mystery was already starting to be created, because it was like this landmass that not a lot of people get to go to. But anyway, the Arctic Treaty of 1959 included 12 countries. Just to note some of those countries, it was the US, the USSR of the time, UK, Japan, Argentina, Australia was in there as well. And that treaty primarily was to make a consensus agreement to protect Antarctica, that there was to be no military activity on Antarctica from any country that had signed the treaty, no military testing like nuclear weapons or anything like that, and then obviously no things like mining and stuff like the mining resources from Antarctica. So because of that treaty, that's where you have to get permission to go there, and you have to explain why you're going there. And like, a lot of scientists can get to go there. I guess it would be interesting to know how Dan ended up going there. I'm presuming he was in the army at the time when he did it. I think he said that.
Deployed to Falkland Islands.
Yeah, and people, as I said, it's not like you can't go there, but you have to get permission. You have to be really visible about what you're doing. And because of that, again, it sort of just adds another layer of mystery straight away when you've got this place that's a little bit like, you know, you could liken to Area 51, where it's really restricted to go there, and airspace is really. And the other thing that again has for decades and decades and decades up to recent times shrouded it in mystery is because you can't really fly over it either, or it's not recommended to fly over it because of the magnetic interference that it causes because of where it's at, and you know, other factors that create that magnetism. But yeah, so again, you know, until sort of satellites and things like then Google Earth and things like that, and until those were invented, it was very hard for anybody to even, you know, consider looking over Antarctica in that sort of way.
Yeah, I think the internet and Google Earth has made the whole world feel a lot smaller, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I thought we would cover it on an episode. There's a lot in there, as I said. There's a lot that's conspiracy theory. There's a lot that's pseudoscience, and there's a lot that's scientific. And I just wanted to share some of the sort of more science stuff with you guys first, because even though it's, you know, proven in the realm of science, it's still very interesting, and I don't know if everybody will have heard of some of these things. So, but just to kick it off, then, the first thing I was going to bring into discussion was the Gamburtsev Mountains. Have you ever heard of them? The Gamburtsev Mountains?
I think I have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did that pop up in your research, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, go
on. 2 seconds. Let me just bring some up. So anyway, the Gamburtsev Mountains, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Probably aren't. Were you going to correct me?
No. I can't.
Go on.
I can't remember how to pronounce it either.
Oh, here we go. I found the picture now. Let me just open that up. And then I'll come back to the stream and share screen. Yeah, so I can't remember when they were first discovered, but when they were, it was more like, I think it was back in 1967 or in the 60s, and somebody who went and visited Antarctica said that he kind of found this thing where he proved that there was this mountain range that was underneath this sheet of ice in Antarctica. And when I say mountain range, I mean that they were the size of the European Alps, you know, these mountains where then there was, you know, a break, and then there's a big sheet of ice. And and then recently, I think as recent as 2014, there was a scientific mission that went to Antarctica to sort of look more into this and actually revealed it. Is that coming up on the screen?
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can zoom in on that a little bit.
I just need to get back to the stream. Where am I going? There we are. So yeah, and this is just off the science article. I thought it was just give you an idea of why this was so difficult for them to prove, because the mountain range, which is meant to be, you know, they've now brought back samples of rock and indicated that it's over 1 billion years old, and then you've got like this lake, but you can see on the left hand side it says 4,000 meters because there's 4,000 meters between the sheet of ice and where then there's this layer of you know, that second layer, and then you go down further, and as I said, the mountain range that's meant to be sort of trapped in there, it's you know, it's significant size. It's about the size of the Alps.
I mean, that's 4 kilometers of ice. That's a lot of ice.
But yeah, I don't know quite the specifics of how they proved this. If anybody is familiar with the story, and maybe Mr. Godwin is familiar with the story and can let us know exactly how they proved it. But yeah, there was this, and again, the theory had been kicking around for a good 30 years. It was kind of like pseudoscience. It was discovered by somebody who was on an exhibition in the 60s who kind of said that he had this thought or feeling and something that they were doing there or testing. And also it's kind of led on to, them finding then, I think it was something like 30,000 different species of bacteria that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, like microorganisms, because they've been kind of locked down there for like almost 1 billion years.
Yeah.
But in their own kind of like ecosystem. So really, really interesting science stuff, and just goes to show you how, like, I don't know, the core of the world works, like just how big everything is that goes into this planet that we're riding on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But also, excuse me, there's another thing that's that I came across in my research that I found.
Just showing this for those that are interested. I'm just keeping a map of Antarctica handy, but that mountain range is like about here in East Antarctica. It's around here. So there you go.
That's good, because I actually, you're the geographic man, because I actually didn't look up where it was, but that's because I knew that you'd do it and it'd make the live stream more fun.
I literally did it as you were talking. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, so where are we? Videos, and I wanted the one on the ghost creature. There we go. So,
see, it's not easy trying to get these things shared, and how is it? See,
no, well, especially
the Antarctica.
Especially on my end, because I've got a swap between video and photo screens. Anyway, you probably got to do the same. I'm not sure. So the next thing that I was going to sort of bring to light, which is really, really recent as well, but is a scientific discovery from Antarctica that's very strange, and it's called the ghost creature. And the ghost creature is this guy's about to talk about it, but it survived, or it was up until they discovered and it very, very recently, I think as recent as 2020, and it was felt to be extinct, and so this thing has survived 30 ice ages.
30,
right? And 30 ice ages.
Wow.
Right? He'll go on to discuss that in a minute, but again, when we think about creatures that mythically may or may not have survived ice ages and been in remote places and locations and still not been discovered or proven, this in a small way goes to lend towards some of that. But anyway, I'll play the video.
This is Tolbergia media Antarctica. This is what we affectionately refer to as the ghost columbola. And we call it the ghost columbola because it's white like a ghost, but we had not found it after looking for it for years and years and years, we started to wonder if it was even real, if it really existed. It had been described by a scientist that went to Antarctica in the early 1960s, near the Shackleton Glacier region. We just never saw it. And finally, we're like, let's go to the exact place where this scientist described it the first time and see if it's there. The white strip that you see there, that is the Shackleton Glacier. When you see this landscape, your natural inclination is like, this is like a gravel pit. There's not going to be anything alive here. So I moved some rocks out of the way to take a soil sample, and on the bottom of the rock, I could see this columbella crawling around. And that's its natural habitat. It lives on the bottoms of these rocks, crawling around, and you can see that that rock's got some moisture on it, so the conditions are just right for that animal to live there. This particular species, and in fact all of the species that are in this paper, are endemic to Antarctica, and they have lived there for millions of years. That little ghost columbella, that's only found on 3 little spots in Antarctica. So as a species, or at least as an evolutionary lineage, it's persisted for over 30 ice ages. Columbella, they're described as primitive insects. So this lineage diverged from the lineage that became all of the rest of the insects. And most springtails, we call them springtails because back here they have a furcula, a spring, that they can use to hop around like a kangaroo. But in Antarctica, these animals have lost that ability to do that. So you've got these 3 little legs that they crawl around with, and they're hauling this great big sleeping bag of a body behind them, grazing on organic matter in the soil, and there's not much of it there, right? So slim pickings most places this guy goes, which is why they're restricted to these areas that have, that are just like Goldilocks environments for them, like not too cold, not too dry, not too harsh, not too, like it's got to be just right. They move maybe this much in their lifetime, and they don't have wings to fly away with. They don't get up on top of the soil and crawl away. They don't blow away by the wind. And so really the only way that they can migrate, can move long distances, is in open water. When we look at the evolution of these organisms, we can see that the timing and pattern of their population.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so that's crazy sort of discovery, isn't it? You wouldn't think that much would survive, and there's a whole ecosystem living under a rock.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought it was interesting because we talk about, a lot of subject matter on the show that, is talking about creatures that are possibly believed to be extinct or, and could have survived, and, the remoteness and not being seen and then being discovered by science. It's always interesting.
Do you want to see something of your nightmares that exists in Antarctica?
Yeah, go on then.
This is what I found in my research. Here we go. It's the scale worm, the Antarctica scale worm, and it's about the size of a squirrel, and it's got like razor sharp teeth. It's absolutely horrifying looking. So there you go.
Is it? Does it live underwater?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. That is freaky.
It's as big as a squirrel.
Is that its mouth? That one that's sort of like in the center of the screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Ugh. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it can latch onto you. And,
Evening, Karen.
Yeah, it's not very pleasant. But yeah, it's weird things you find in and around Antarctica.
Mm.
There you go.
Lovely.
Mm.
There you go. So, oh gosh, here we go again. I'll come back to you in a minute. The next thing that I was gonna sort of talk about, which is it's like a mixture really, because I've been talking a lot about science, pseudoscience, and then conspiracy theory. This, I guess, is an amalgamation of science and conspiracy theory.
Mickey thinks that worm looks like some sort of evil Pokemon. It's very good. It does.
And
Kind of.
it's primarily about pyramids in
Oh,
Antarctica,
pyramids. Right.
which
I've
I
seen
thought.
about this as well.
So I thought that'd be interesting to discuss. So is that if can you bring that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, another advantage of things like Google Earth and things like that, and satellite imagery. They initially started finding these areas of Antarctica where it looked like at first glance that they're pyramids, and they look very likened to pyramids and give off all the same shapes and stuff. In this picture, you've got obviously a comparison between an Egyptian pyramid and what was photographed in Antarctica.
And also, a bit like what we see in Mars, there's like fields of them, isn't there? There's like a whole number of them that we see from Google Earth images.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've now discovered 3 distinct pyramid shapes, and they've all come and been discovered, a little bit apart in terms of a couple of years apart. But yeah, but then there's a lot of. I'll stop sharing that picture in a minute. There's a lot of scientists, very quick to jump on the fact that, well, no, it's not. It's just natural formations caused by movements in the glaciers and like the ice over the rock. I don't know what your feelings are on it.
I think mountains can just come in pyramid shape. It's like rock over time under gravity, and it's like erosion ends up forming a conical or pyramid-like shape. It's a bit like if you're on a beach and piling up sand with a bucket and spade. If you keep doing it, eventually you'll end up with something that looks like a pyramid.
Yeah. Can you let that picture in?
Oh, sorry. Oh no, that's very pyramidally on the.
Yeah.
Look at the straightness of that line down there.
This is where it becomes interesting because with the more that are discovered, because the first one that we were looking at the first image, I think was one of the first ones to be snapped. And then there's a lot of photographs. I've got a picture in a minute that I can share where it's got that pyramid, but from almost like a ground angle or that mountain. And, from a ground angle, it looks very much more like just a mountain. However, like you said, they've discovered other areas, and this is just another example of one. I can't remember what the zoomed in thing is. I think it's
looking from down from the top, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting shot because of that, the straightness and stuff. But again, scientists are sticking to their argument that no, it's just movement of the glaciers and ice that's caused this. But I just thought, and I'll just lastly share the one that was the picture of the first one, but from a ground angle. Again, finding this a little bit easy now. Getting more used to it now that I'm doing it.
You're doing good. You're doing well.
It's ready to share.
Oh, is it? Oh, there we go.
So yeah, when you look at it from that angle, that's the first one that was in the first image that was in the comparison to the Egyptian pyramid. That's what it looks like from ground level.
That looks like a mountain.
Yeah, because you've got that one corner that's closest to you, where actually it's not one straight line; it's actually kind of two bits, really. And you can see at times that they are quite significantly covered in snow and ice. Um, and yeah, whether there's some sort of natural, thing with winds and stuff like that that cause the effect. But having said that, it might be one that I would be open to say I sit on the fence on, really, because some of the imagery, and again, as always, I would encourage you guys that are viewing and watching, like, go and do your own exploration. But there are other images of pyramids discovered in Antarctica which do look a little bit more convincing from all sorts of angles.
Doesn't look straight. Like,
Yeah.
That particular one looked like a mountain to me.
So, I was going to put you on the spot now.
Oh no, don't do that. Why?
Have you heard of the Polynia? Polynia?
Polonia.
Yeah.
No.
I was thinking you could Google it now. That's what I meant by putting you on the spot.
Okay.
It's
I'll do
it's
that.
the Antarctica Polonia, and it's spelled Polynya.
Right. Okay.
It's
a hole?
Yeah, it's a hole that they found in Antarctica, and that hole is about the size of like the east coast of America. And yeah, it sort of, again, was something that was snapped by satellites. I think this was snapped by NASA in 2016 by one of their orbiters. Yeah, and
oh, that's a big picture.
There's other shots of it where it's from up above looking down.
Oops, I've gone right in. Look. How do I get out of this now? What have I done? Oh no. Come back.
Now we're just looking at sky.
Anyway.
Yeah, so it's a really good example of like conspiracy theory hitting pseudoscience and then hitting science. And because when it was initially picked up by NASA imagery, I think in 2016, it set off a whirlwind of things. It got put on, social media. Oh, there's this big hole, and loads of, climate change activists instantly caught onto it, and said that it was, a sign of global, climate change, etc. And then it sort of fell into the realm of pseudoscience, where they were kind of trying to give a scientific explanation for it, and it was sort of meeting there in the middle with some crazy theories. But they've kind of now pretty much worked out what it is and have a pretty good, solid scientific explanation for it. It's to do with so it's kind of like let me just go to my notes a minute. Yeah, it's a pocket of liquid water, and that liquid water comes from an ocean that's located in a deep, thick layer of ice.
Yeah.
And then what they think is that there's like streams of wind, but the winds create a swirling pattern which keeps the ice moving. And so therefore kind of stops it from icing over, and then it's kind of a pocket of liquid water.
It looks to be a combination of this katabatic wind, swirling wind, that keeps the ice off the top, and the dynamic of having this deep seawater underneath, where the cold water running off the ice heads down the deep, and then the warmer deep seawater then cycles back up. So it keeps this pocket unnaturally warm at the same time the wind keeps the ice off the top. That's interesting. There you go. And that's that's what they're seeing. Cool.
No, but nobody's still joined me on Facebook, by the way.
Oh.
So
You're
but
all alone. You're all by yourself.
I forgot. I should have. If I'd known that you're going to get it sorted out, I would have tried to like promote it.
We agreed.
Yeah.
Get it sorted out. I surprised.
Is that a sign that I didn't have to? So I've come over to YouTube.
It's a sign that G did not believe I would get it sorted. So
well, all it was because I was tuned in watching the TNG review on Wednesday, and Maz went, "What's the episode about then on Friday?" And you were like,
yeah, that's a good question.
It's about something. Yeah,
I
was like, oh my god, we planned out the whole season.
I got it. I had it was there eventually.
Yeah, I know. You got it in the end, but then you pulled it out of the bag with talking about a load of stuff, obviously that we're going to cover as well. But yeah, I thought, do you know what? He's not going to have it sorted, and so I didn't promote it on Facebook, and yeah, so
there you go.
It's just dropped on live, and anyway, yeah. Let me just say hi to the guys in chat.
Hi, Facebook.
I was feeling lonely, so it's weird. Just goes to show you how connected I am into the chat. Anyway, there you go. Let's move on to the next mysterious. So I think, that was pretty much my science section, but I still think that it was really interesting, and that shot that you showed of the Polonia. There's ones that are like more aerial ones, and it makes it look really scary, like just a big hole. But yeah, I think that was all pretty interesting stuff. So I hope you guys have learned something about Antarctica already. But moving on to more of, I guess, something that sort of sits more in the pseudoscience section, but there's still quite a bit of science to it. But that's the belief that there is a lost civilization and also potentially lost city or lost cities under Antarctica, and that by lost civilization, what I mean is a lost continent, I guess, if you're going to go more lean into the science within the pseudoscience realm of it. But yeah, it's believed that there is another layer underneath Antarctica, which was the original layer before all the ice was on it, and it was very much, and this is why the whole mountain range that I was talking about was kind of interesting, because that, for them, proving it scientifically goes to lean towards some of that science, which is obviously a fact. But where the interesting thing comes in, and I'm going to play a video in a minute where there's quite a strong belief from groups of people that 12,000 years ago, what we know of Antarctica now was not ice; it was a tropical jungle, and could have housed lots of different species. And there is proof that's been found on Antarctica of dinosaur fossils, etc. Blah blah blah. But this is where it kind of splits out a little bit, because in this sort of connection with this evidence that 12,000, 13, 14,000 years ago, it was a different climate and a different landscape on Antarctica. There's a group of more pseudoscience that believe that it was to do with something that's called a crust shift. Is it a crustaceous shift, where the crust of the planet moved by 200,000 miles?
Well, that's a move.
No, 2,000 miles. Sorry,
that's
2,000 miles. Sorry, misquote. 2,000 miles. So the crust of the Earth moved 2,000 miles, right? So, as I said, there's actual scientific evidence that 12,000/13,000 years ago, the climate was possibly very, very different on Antarctica. Then you've got this pseudoscience kind of explanation that it was to do with this crust shift, and that's why Antarctica changed from being a tropical landscape, being shifted on the crust by 2,000 miles and put into where it is now, and then the ice started to form. However, then there's a sort of core mainstream science that just believes that it was to do with a climate shift, that something happened on the planet that created a significant climate shift. But the fact that life, as in like dinosaurs and stuff like that, there's a lot of people within the pseudoscience realm that kind of then start attaching this previous civilization, as in a lost civilization of humanoids that lived there, but there's been no evidence found to prove that. But I'm just going to play a video anyway that kind of covers.
Is it a YouTube video?
It is, yeah.
Do you want me to bring it up, Rob? It's just your upload's a bit stuttery, so I didn't know if maybe it might be a better idea if I play it.
Yeah, if you can find it, it's called.
Right. Yes, Karen, we'll be getting to the Piri Reis map in a moment. Yes.
Yeah, we're coming to that. But good knowledge. Obviously knows a little bit about Antarctica there.
Oh yes, Karen.
It's called an ancient Antarctic rainforest. An ancient Antarctic rainforest.
An ancient Antarctic rainforest from Nature Videos. Is that one?
I can't remember where it's from. You can try playing it, and I'll let you know whether it is.
It's 2 minutes 32. Do I want me to play it from the beginning?
Yeah. Some of the videos are 2-3 minutes.
Right. Okay. Let's hope this is the one you're after. Does that look right?
A mission to the Antarctic has revealed fossilized plant roots
this is the right one.
deep under the ocean since the time of the dinosaurs. It seems this freezing landscape was once home to a lush forest.
90 million years ago, a temperate rainforest existed in West Antarctica, only 900 kilometers away from the South Pole.
Johan Klages and his team set out on a ship with a special drill to extract a core of material stretching down 30 meters into the sea floor.
When we recovered the core, we could already see what's inside and that it was very unusual. And therefore we decided to scan them in a CT scanner back home. So what we
Just to say, this was what they found from 90 million years ago. Not 12,000. I just based on what you were just saying beforehand, I just wanted to clarify that point, just in case anybody was getting confused.
See here is the overview of the CT scanned core, and the yellow strata we see now is the sandstone, and now we transition into the network of fossil roots. And we can nicely see how the roots are connected with each other and are pristinely preserved. We have thin roots, we have thick roots, and it's really a network as you would go to the forest near you and drill into the current forest.
Studying the core, including analysis of fossilized pollen and spores, is revealing more about the environment of this ancient rainforest.
It revealed a very warm temperature for this latitude and annual mean temperatures that are similar to those of northern Italy. It would be very certain that also dinosaurs and insects lived in that environment, and in an environment that was dark for about 4 months during the year because we had the polar night.
This was one of the warmest periods in Earth's history, with carbon dioxide levels several times higher than they are today. The new find provides a window into this ice-free polar world, and Johan hopes that studying these past extremes could help us prepare for the future.
these extreme greenhouse climates are important for us to understand in full detail, because it allows a look into the future, how the planet might look like if we excessively emit CO2 as we do right now.
There we go. Yeah, so that was looking back 90 million years ago, towards the end of the dinosaur period.
Our journey to
Shush,
Cocos
shush,
Island.
YouTube, be quiet.
What's YouTube saying?
Nothing, it was just moved on to another video. About the Cocoa Islands in the Pacific. Interestingly, there was talk, we're going back now some time, like, I don't know, 20, 30 years, that Russia wanted to build a dam across the Bering Strait to warm up the Baltic Sea, to create a warmer climate across Siberia, to more fertile land, and create a kind of like that sort of environment that they were seeing 90 million years ago in Antarctica. Create that in Siberia.
Yeah,
it would have caused a environmental catastrophe. So it's a good job they didn't try to do that. Building a dam across the Bering Strait would not be an easy feat to begin with. But
yeah. So I guess what I was trying to explain is that from a science point of view, you know, like dinosaur fossils, etc., have been located there. So from a science, you know, that video kind of covers then, you know, that science angle, that this different climate that existed on Antarctica was, you know, millions of years ago. Whereas, nice transition, because a lot of the pseudoscience that comes around the 12,000 figure that I was quoting to you is a good, the thing that has heavily influenced that is the pre-Reese map. So, nice little link for you to talk about the Peri-Reese map.
map. So, yes, as Kara mentioned in chat a moment ago, let's just bring the map up so you can all see what we're talking about.
And, you know, that's also very connected to the category of lost civilization on Antarctica, and, you know, various different theories, which I'm sure you're going to share.
Yeah, so this is one of the Piri-Reis maps. This is the one that causes all the controversy, because what we're actually looking at here is, we can see, I don't know if you can see my mouse actually, but at the top right corner, we've got Spain, and then below that we've got North Africa, and we can see like the Canary Islands and things, and then we've got the Atlantic Ocean, and we can see at the top of the left hand side we've got the Caribbean, Brazil, as South America juts out. We have the bottom of South America, and then what scholars have been saying is, from this bump near the bottom, we transition from the bottom of South America straight into an outline of Antarctica, including this bowl shape with islands in it, which would be islands that are currently under an ice shelf, and were only recently, or relatively recently in the last 100 years, discovered.
It's weird because usually we can see your mouse, but can't seem to see your mouse.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there, it's back.
There you go.
There you go. So yeah, sorry. There's Africa here. There's Spain there. Here's Brazil. Here, the Caribbean. South South America here, and what they say is Antarctica down here. It's confused people for many years. Just a little bit of a background about Piri Reis, because they call it the Piri Reis map. He made this map in 1913. 1513. So it's very old. It's very old. He actually lived between 1465 and 1553. He was an Ottoman Turk. So, in the Ottoman Empire around in Turkey, what is now Turkey. His actual name was Ahmed Muhaddin Piri. And Piri Reis. Reis is actually it's Ottoman for captain, so it translates as Captain Reis. Captain Piri. That's what he is. He's Captain Piri. It was a bit of a polymath, because he was a geographer, a navigator, a cartographer, a captain, privateer, became an admiral of the fleet. So he had many interests, and one of those was cartography and creating maps.
Isn't there a theory in there somewhere that he actually just did a copy of the map?
Yes. Well, sort of. As Karen says in there, the maps were copied from one in the Library of Alexandria. That's slightly true. He actually...
Constantinople.
Yeah. He actually, in a library in Constantinople, he had a source of around 20 plus maps. He used between 20 and 30 maps. He took all these ancient maps and, kind of using his judgment, took the best bits, what he thought was the most accurate best bits of them all, to create his sort of definitive version. One of his source maps was even Christopher Columbus's own map that Christopher Columbus made. And you can see in various places where what's the islands that are above the Canaries called? I can't remember what they're called. They're Portuguese.
Balearic?
No, that's in the Mediterranean. I can't remember what they're called, but he's put them on here twice. So he's obviously made some mistakes with it. I've actually got another picture here that I can share with you, which overlays the outline of the Piri Reis map on the actual world map. So here you can see what he thought against what is actually there. So is it the Azores? The Azores here in the middle here. The Azores are here twice for some reason. So that's like where his copying of other maps kind of let him down a bit, because those islands aren't there. The Caribbean went a bit awry. He's got a bit confused about how that all works. And Cuba, I think this is supposed to be Cuba, but and this is what we're saying about the bottom bit being Antarctica, rather than the southern tip of South America. That's what people believe. And if we just refer, I'm just going to so it's a bit difficult. I think I'm just going to share my screen. It'll come up not quite as good, but I just want to swap between pages a minute. So if I just share my screen and make it big, there we go. So if we take the Piri Reis map here, and you can see, can I zoom in on that? Yeah, I can. as it takes a while. I remember it's like dial-up modem connection. Wait for your.
It really is.
Yep. Not that I used to download pictures a lot on dial-up modems. So yeah, Antarctica. So if we compare that, so we got this like bowl shape with these islands, and that's supposed to be where have I got? So here is where South America comes down over here, and this is that bowl shape here, and here are the islands with a collection of small islands with a big island over the top of them. And in the Piri-Reis map, we can see a bowl shape here with a collection of small islands with a big island on the top of them. So this is where they're saying they think that's what this represents. So yeah, it's caused controversy for years. Bearing in mind that, yeah, this was drawn in 1513, and I think Antarctica was first. People knew about it for some time, but the first recorded instance of someone actually citing it and cataloguing it was in 1820. And there was a chap called, and I'm going to butcher his name here, Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen. He was a German working on a Russian-led Antarctica expedition, and to find Antarctica and say they've seen it. So he was the first guy to spot it in 1820.
Yeah. And what I was trying to say earlier, because this map's dated at 1513, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just people that, as I said, feel that that it's made from a copy of a copy and goes back, much further into that 12,000 year period that I was talking about earlier. And that's what fuels a lot of the fire around things like, the thing that I forgot to mention earlier is Antarctica is attributed as part of the Atlantis myth as well, that they believe that Atlantis was possibly
I was wondering when Atlantis would come into this.
Yeah. And it, there's a lot of, the trouble is there's a lot of these conspiracy theories kind of feed into each other, like the crust shift theory and the Earth's crust shifting by 2,000 miles, and that causing the Atlantis floods and the shift change, where it was a beautiful, lush location beforehand, and then got dragged through the water 2,000 miles and covered in ice.
What I'd be interested in is what people in chat think about the Piri-Reis map. Has anybody? I mean, I know Karen, you've looked at the Piri-Reis map before. What do you think about it? Or what does anybody else? What does anybody else think of the Piri-Reis map? I'd be interested to get your take on it. Obviously, we've only just covered it briefly here. It's interesting or sad end to Piri-Reis, to Ahmed Mahadini Piri. Later in life, he was executed in 1553 in Cairo for lifting the siege of Hormuz Islands. Basically, he abandoned his fleet and was charged as a traitor and executed. And he said that it was because the powers had not maintained the ships properly, and all the ships were falling apart. But they killed him for it. So that was the sticky end of Piri-Reis. Yeah.
Shame, poor fella. Well, at least he's got his place in history.
He has indeed. Yeah.
That's a good thing. funny enough, because in the trailer, for those that had joined us and saw the trailer at the beginning of tonight's live stream, in that trailer, I was, features about the Men in Black. Didn't really talk about that, but yeah, on the location stuff that we're going to film this season, we're going to be the Men in Black, Agent M and Agent G, and but yeah, we couldn't go to Iceland, not Iceland, Antarctica.
No.
To do and on location because Karen, I think, was in chat saying, "Shall we organise a day trip down to check them out?"
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just pop down there.
And I just thought I'd explain that. No, this is one that we won't be doing any on location.
No, maybe not.
Yeah. So, and I guess it takes a little bit more explanation. I think some of you might have got it, but because this map exists and where it's dated, and because some of the detail on the map shows that Antarctica wasn't covered in ice and there's like rivers and stuff like that, it feeds into the theory that this map was maybe copied by period reason, is a lot older, and indicates that at a much earlier time somebody traveled there and it wasn't covered in ice, which would indicate to a previous civilization. And although nothing has been found of human remains in Antarctica or slightly humanoid remains to sort of lean towards or help support that theory, but there is things that would support areas of it, and again, going back to the Gamburtsev Mountains, that sort of thing where it's like a hidden world underneath another ecosystem. It kind of creates interesting possibilities.
Yeah. So you're right. It's that thought of he's copied some really ancient map out there that contained knowledge that we otherwise didn't know. Shall I tell you my boring? Shall I be the?
Since you made it already sound so interesting, please go on. Should I? Welcome along to the live stream, everybody.
Well, I'm just
sitting there while I tell you about my boring theory.
Well, I hate to poo-poo ideas, but and this is only my.
No, you don't.
This is only my thought, but I think, who knows? But hang on, I'm just sorting out my windows. Hang on, right. You're having trouble yourself here, aren't you?
I'm having trouble with my mic.
Right. So there's a couple of problems, right? I think. What I think is what we're looking at here in the Piri Reis map is just the rest of South America that's not well understood and has been drawn incorrectly. The same way as at the top here, the Caribbean's been all drawn incorrectly. I think they knew they were quite well understood Brazil and this outcrop, this part of. Just leave your mic alone.
Sorry.
I think they knew this bit really well, right? This bit in the middle was quite well understood, and that is as it should be. But then the tops and bottoms they don't know so well. So as it goes away from the area, it becomes more sort of guesstimate work. And as we look at the way this curves around here, we've got from Brazil down, then we've got this bowl here, which is this bowl here. Then we've got a straight bit, and we've got a straight bit, and then we've got another bowl here, and we've got another bowl here, and then we've got this right-angled section here, and we've got this right-angled section here. So I think what we've got here is a map of South America going down to the tip of South America at the bottom. It's just been misinterpreted in the wrong direction. It's curling round too much where it should be straightened up down this way. That's what I think, because also what we're missing is is it Drake's Strait? Is it? I've forgotten what it's called. Drake's Passage. Drake's Passage. We're missing Drake's Passage here, which is a great big channel between South America and Antarctica. We don't see any Drake's Passage here between what people say is a representation of South America and a representation of Antarctica. So there's no Drake's Passage.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you see this sort of like W shape here, what we're actually seeing is this like W shape here. We're just seeing it. We're seeing it at that angle, like that. We're seeing that bit there, here.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on this conclusion. I kind of knew that there'd been lots of discussion about other errors on the map, which go to lean towards the fact that, you know, it could be easily explained away. It's just another error of judgment and or copying, etc., etc. But of the overall theory of a previous civilization or a previous very different continent, I'll keep the jury out on that, because there's still some really other interesting stuff outside of the Piri Reis map that supports that.
I've got another interesting map for you.
Please do share.
Oh, Karen, we're getting on to Nazi bases. she's getting all excited.
Yeah,
we're getting there. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's me playing with my microphone.
He's stopped playing with himself now, so he's the noises have stopped. I have another map.
Go on then.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. That one. Here we go. This map here. It's called I think it's Boche. Boche. B-U-A-C-H-E.
Boche.
Boche. Boche.
Boche.
Boche map. Named after the creator of it, Philippe Boche. He made this map in 1739. Entitled The Carte de Terres Australis. Yeah, there we go. That's what it's called. And this is interesting because this, as we said earlier, Antarctica was confirmed in its first sighting in, did I say 1820. And this map was created in 1739 by this chap. He, like Piri Reis, he was a bit of a polymath and didn't always create the maps based on, you know, being a cartographer and going around all of the shorelines and extracting the information like a lot of people. He would use other maps and a lot of other scientific data to determine what to expect in the unknown parts of the world. And from his observations and observations of others, he drew this map to show what he thought was the continent of Antarctica. And the interesting thing about it is it supposedly shows a quite good depiction of what the landmass under the ice sheet would look like. So if we go back to I'm on the wrong type of thingamajiggy, aren't I? Hang on. because nobody had mapped these things out, because nobody at this point had even seen that there was a continent there, let alone anything else. As I said earlier, here is the actual Antarctica, with the ice shelves here, but exactly how much land mass would be underwater between West Antarctica and East Antarctica is up for debate. So these could be two separate islands. If all the ice melted and the land was free of ice, these could be two separate islands. So you've got one thin long one and one big round one. The thin long one's on the west side, and the big one's on the east, and has a elongated bit down the bottom. And from his map here, we see that on the west side we've got an elongated island, and on the east side we've got the bigger island with the bulbous bit down the bottom. So how he managed to hit on pretty much exactly what it looks like through a guess is anybody's business. Interestingly, can I go back on this one? No. There is. Yeah.
Chat's gone, I think.
Oh, chat has gone. Sorry, chat. Hang on, I'll bring you back. There you go. You're back. No, you're not. You're still not back. Hang on, there you go. Hello, chat. I do apologise. Yes. He did create a map just before that map with nothing there at all. So sorry if chat just disappears again, but I just want to quickly show this. So there's this map, which doesn't contain Antarctica at all, and then literally later that same year he produced this map which contains Antarctica, just out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, he just randomly turned round and went, I know, I'm going to put Antarctica on there and get it almost exactly right. He even calls this sea, he reckoned that it should have a sea going through it, and he called it the Glacier Sea because he said it will contain glaciers. And the thing we actually see in the middle of Antarctica between the two islands are these great big glaciers. So it's kind of crazy how right he was.
Well, maybe the Atlanteans took him there for a visit.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay, backing up to that theory around 12,000 years ago.
Yeah.
The problem I have with that is 12,000 years ago, 12 to 14,000 years ago, the world was a lot colder. We had the Ice Age and woolly mammoths, and the ice sheets came down from the poles and covered most of Europe. Then we had the Younger Dryas period, where we had a bombardment of meteors that heated the environment up and took us out of the Ice Age and into the after Younger Dryas era that we have today. So it wouldn't have been warmer back then. It would have been colder.
Yeah, as I'm saying, I'm not necessarily agreeing with that area of the theory. I'm just still sitting on the fence about a previous civilization, because nobody's, all it takes is somebody to find a bloody fossil of a humanoid there, and then bish bash bum, Bob's your uncle, previous civilization. But that could happen. Yeah? It
could happen. It could happen. Yeah.
Because that's what I've been trying to sort of indicate tonight, is that there's lots of things happening now that there is easy, because, I was painting this picture earlier on of how it's much easier for us now to view Antarctica through things like satellites and Google Earth. But it's a lot easier for people to like even one of our viewers has been there, you know, because there's been advancements in kind of like cold weather equipment, cold weather clothing, you know, even the transport to get people there. It's a lot more accessible. So over the next few years, and scientists are finding out new things there all the time that up until they find them out, they felt it was kind of pseudoscience, because one scientist or expedition person said it 40 years ago, but didn't have enough equipment to gather evidence of it. So it was just his word against the rest of the science community. And things are being found to be the case. So in that regards, I'll stay open-minded on that one. But yeah, I don't believe it was 12,000 years ago.
No.
If that, and it's probably more to do with aliens anyway, which is where I believe. So
that's the Piri Reis and Bosch map.
Yeah, and that was the Lost Civilization and Lost City section.
Yeah.
And now we're going on to the
Karen's going to be
section
happy.
about Nazis.
Yes.
And I'm going to not cover this massive. I do have a video for this one as well.
Is it YouTube?
Is my stream is my stream still not looking good?
It might be better if I do it.
Okay, right. Well, I don't want you to share it now because I just need to talk about it first. But I'm wondering, because there's definitely one video that I trimmed it down because it was 9 minutes long, and the section I needed was right in the middle.
Whilst you're sorting it out, I just want to give a quick shout out because we're talking about a lot of geology tonight. I just want to give a shout out to La Palma, the people of La Palma. They're going through a horrible time with their volcano erupting, and lots of people have lost their homes. And I've been watching the news reports coming out of La Palma all week. I've been watching a guy called Bushcraft Beer on YouTube who's been giving people updates on a daily basis. And we love going to the Canary Islands, and I've been to most of them. I haven't been to La Palma, funnily enough, but yeah, I do love the Canary Islands, and it's sad to see people having a bad time of it with their volcano. So
yeah, for sure, it's awful. And we send big love, Monte's own love to everybody.
Are you sorted yourself out?
No, I don't think I actually. I don't think I downloaded the video, so I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I definitely needed the one about Operation High Jump there, so I hope I can find that. So going to Nazis then. So this was back in. This is one of those things where it sits within like this conspiracy theory, but actually a lot of it sits within fact. Conspiracy theory, Nazis went to Antarctica in the 30s and 40s and built a very large secret underground base, which was penned or nicknamed Base 22 over the years. And they would, they were building that base for one conspiracy theory. Hitler would never died and actually escaped on a submarine and went to the base that they had built ahead of time for him in Antarctica. One conspiracy theory. The other is that they were using the base because they had found alien wreckage, ship wreckage there, or alien technology, and they wanted to study it. So sounds a little bit wild, sounds a little bit crazy, but the actual facts are that it can be proven that the Nazis did go to Antarctica in 1936 and 1937. There's documents that outline who was the commander of the mission. There was a whole submarine and expedition that went there. In regards to the actual building of base, I'm not aware of any significant evidence that 100% backs that up. I've got some video footage later that proposes that some Russian scientists found this supposed Nazi base. NASA base. Oh, that's a bit Freudian. NASA Nazi. NASA,
Shush.
Nazi. Sorry. Oh, funny enough. Yeah. So I hope I got that video to share with you guys. But so there is actual documents. You can actually find out who was the leader of the mission. Hiya, Chewie.
It's Chewie time.
Oh wow, he's grown big in the last week.
He's grown, isn't he? He's getting bigger every day.
Yeah. Wow. Well, they do say that puppies do that.
Yeah. He just keeps growing.
Yeah. So as I said, there's documentation where you can go and it's quite well catalogued and documented, and you can see who was the commander of the mission and etc. etc. The other thing that really goes to support Nazis being sort of entrenched in Antarctica relates to a United States mission that took place in 1947, and that was called Operation High Jump. And once again, this is heavily documented, but then splits off into the realm of fact and, possible fiction, because there's the fact that this mission that was, I hope I've got the video. Let me just see if I've got the video.
I'm interested to know if Dan is still on chat, if he's still tuned in. What because he's the only person of us that has experienced the Antarctic for reals. How he thinks the Germans and World War II people, of that era, would have coped with the cold and transporting and getting the technology set up to be able to exist in that climate.
Yeah, again, I think I forgot, or the download that I ripped off of the video with the Nazis. Let's see if this is it. Sorry,
everyone. G-Star's suffering with some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Please stand by. Do you want me to look?
Sorry. It didn't go into the right folder, so I have found it, but now I need to find it in the share box. Bear with me a moment. So I'll try and keep talking about. So Operation High Jump. Let us know in chat if you've heard of Operation High Jump. Coming. It's there.
6th, 1946. A U.S. scientific expedition called Operation High Jump departs for the South Pole. It is led by esteemed naval officer and explorer, Admiral Richard Byrd.
Admiral Richard Byrd was a very important admiral in the United States Navy. He graduated the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. He fought in World War I, and after the war, he became an explorer.
I love it when they do that to photos, where they use Photoshop or whatever to take
make it look new.
the foreground people and blow them up slightly so they can move them in line with the background to make it look 3D. I love it when the people do that. It's very clever. Sorry, I digress.
In 1926, Byrd made worldwide headlines when he and Navy Chief Aviation Pilot Floyd Bennett became the first people to ever fly over the North Pole. For their efforts, both men received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later, when Byrd, at the age of 41, made the first solo flight over the South Pole, he became the youngest person ever promoted to the rank of admiral in the history of the United States Navy. In 1946, Byrd oversaw Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition to date. The massive military convoy included 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and 4,700 troops.
The U.S. Navy sent down a flotilla of ships under command of Admiral Byrd, and they came back after about 9 months in Antarctica. Apparently, they actually fought a battle in Antarctica, probably between remnants of the Third Reich and perhaps extraterrestrials as well. There were stories of craft coming up out of the water and attacking them.
Flying Saucers dealt a very heavy defeat to Byrd's Operation High Jump. He gave a report in March of 1947 that said a new enemy had been discovered that could fly from pole to pole in an instant.
This is really interesting.
In 2018, more than 70 years after Byrd's astounding claim, a satellite image captured what appeared to be a condensed water trail from an aircraft, or contrail, that could only have been produced by something traveling at incredibly high speeds.
It extended the entire length of the Earth, longitudinally from the North Pole to the South Pole, which is 12,000 miles.
The maximum length of time that a contrail can maintain its shape is 30 minutes, but most dissipate in less than 15. Only a craft capable of traveling faster than 50,000 miles per hour, or 10 times the speed of the fastest aircraft in existence today, could leave a contrail that would stretch the entire length of the Earth without breaking up.
It's a seeming impossibility because it meant that some object.
So, yeah, I just wanted to share that.
That
was
video went crazy quick, didn't it? It went down the rabbit hole in a blink of an eye, like from sending some troops to Antarctica to fighting with relics of German occupation to defeating UFOs. It's like, wow, that needs to be a film.
Operation High Jump. If you're out there and you're a director and a maker and a producer of movies, make it. It'd be really interesting. But yeah, I mean, you can look Operation High Jump up on, Google. It comes up on Wikipedia, and it just has all the more military kind of discussion, because there's documentation of like crew members and servicemen that died and who actually died on the mission. Through official channels, there's no mention of, the encounter with, crafts that came out of the water, etc. But it's very much felt that the mission was for them to go there and check whether the Nazis had got a foothold into Antarctica and whether they did have a secret base. But I came across a video earlier on, and again, I got a funny feeling I didn't move it into the right file, but it was basically about these. It showed the footage where these Russian scientists recently, in the last few years, would do on a research expedition to Antarctica and came across what they felt was an abandoned hidden base, and it's labeled as Nazi base, but I don't know what happened to the video. I told you I was Russian today.
Dan thinks a long-term base for the Germans would have been unlikely because of how difficult they found living there in the 1990s. The amount of supplies and the length of time it took them to get there from the Falklands. Yeah, he thinks it would be very difficult. But, who knows? We don't know.
Who knows? That's the big thing, right?
Mickey said, the voice of Oak Island. I don't know what that means. Mickey. Maybe you can elaborate. Oh, maybe he thinks that the narrator of that last video, or the video before last.
Well, yeah. I guess what that video is. I can't remember what all these videos are now. This would be a good one to talk about at the moment. Hold on a moment. Don't play it straight away.
Okay.
So this is so this would kind of, you know, some of you guys out there are going, well, phew, could they have had a base there? Who knows? And this is where a lot of the conspiracy theories and mysteries of Antarctica come from. And here's another one that's pretty similar, kind of minus the Nazis, but leans a lot of the your real hardened conspiracy theorists sort of go to say that this proves that there's some activity in base or work there. But anyway, if you just want to play the video quickly.
Oh yeah, Mickey said it's the guy that does the voiceover for Oak Island. I don't know what Oak Island is, but yeah, there we go.
I haven't got Scooby-Doo either. There you go. I think I've got some images as well of that one. Yeah, it's a cave that in 2000. So you can go back and look on Google Earth, and if you go back to like mid 2006, no cave there, no hole. And then around 2007, it appears, but by like mid 2007, 2008, it's gone again. Or there's something that was put onto Google Earth that kind of zones out the area so you can't see it, which has obviously just sparked a load of people kind of saying that there's activity or somebody's doing something there that's creating like caves or tunnels. Oops, I forgot I've got to bring it up on my screen first.
I'm searching things. I probably shouldn't be doing this whilst.
What are you researching?
I'm looking at the cave thing. I was going to see if I could find it on Google Earth.
Yeah, well, I had a video, I think, that had the coordinates of it in, but yeah, where's the bloody... there's the picture. And here we go. Sharing it. It should be ready.
Right.
It's just a still picture of the same image that we were looking at. Yeah. So this is the cave that was discovered. And, you know, again, people say that the entrance to it looks like it's got sort of like pre-designed steps. But, you know, could be total pareidolia, but the hole is visibly there, and it's only stays there for, I think it was there for a period of about 1 year, 3 months. So it wasn't there, then it was there, and then it disappeared.
Wish we knew where it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure I had a video that I was going to use that had it, but it kind of was a bit too long. I'll just double check that it's not this one. Let's see what this one is. I've got so many videos, I can't even remember what they are. There's one lined up if you want to play it.
Right. Okie dokie. There we go. Nope, can't find that cave. Try to find it.
January 2012. GOI-1 satellite photographs a strange oval formation in a wilderness of ice. Analysis of the image measures the concentric ovals at 400 feet wide. Archaeologist Mark Altaweel takes a closer look.
The kind of thing that when you see it almost anywhere in the world, you say immediately, it definitely is man-made. The rings of the structure look like the walls of some sort of compound, like something that's been designed. We're in the middle of the Antarctic, so what in the world is that doing there?
The image comes from one of the most remote, untouched regions on Earth, the vast frozen deserts of East Antarctica.
This is in the middle of nowhere, one of the most inhospitable terrains on the planet.
It's the coldest, driest, windiest place on Earth. It's thousands of miles from any other civilization.
Investigators consider a possible natural explanation for the phenomenon. Could it be a bizarre ice formation caused by powerful Antarctic winds?
They're called katabatic winds, and they can form these features called sastrugi, equivalent of dunes over snow.
Sastrugi are sharp, wave-like ridges in the snow's surface that run parallel to the direction of the wind. They can form highly unusual shapes, but rarely those visible in the image.
We are probably not looking at sastrugi in this image because the feature here is circular and not long and linear, like the general pattern of sastrugi.
There's another force of nature caused by ice melt in Antarctica that might explain the shape of this feature.
If it was a natural process that explained this feature, my first clue would be those dark splotches.
I would say the dark patches are surface melt. That surface melting tends to pond and form what are called supraglacial lakes.
The surface of these lakes can refreeze, leaving a pool of liquid water under the ice.
If that pond drains out, it will leave a void underneath the ice, which could then collapse inward. And the structure that you see here, you can almost imagine a circular pond that has collapsed inward and created these cracks as the ice could collapse in. Kind of this is a punch effect.
Collapsing ice could conceivably create similar shapes on a thinly cupped pond. But in Antarctica, the ice sheets can be incredibly thick.
3.5 miles of ice covers most of Antarctica.
Ice sheets miles deep are unlikely to collapse.
We can learn a lot from satellite imagery, but without actually going there, we're not going to be able to figure out exactly what this depression is.
That's weird looking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It obviously wasn't related to the cave, but I just wanted to stack up, all these weird things that are being found and located by satellite imagery and Google Earth, cool. and people are picking up, and it starts to build all the various conspiracy theories, and so that was pretty much the sort of Nazis and Operation High Jump, and sort of leading on to Antarctica being a major UFO hotspot for like conspiracy theories around either secret UFO bases or the fact that military around the world have found alien technology or crashed craft there, and they believe that because that Operation High Jump, it was in 1947, and there's this whole thing where it's discussed about there was this big fight and battle between the US forces and these alien ships, and in 1947 was Roswell and the supposed crash landed. So a lot of these things are all tying into the sort of same timeline, really, of things happening. But there's still like very, very recent stuff that comes up about UFOs and sort of either crashed UFOs or active or flying UFOs or possible alien bases. And I've got some pictures to share. Let me just collapse some of my others so I know what I'm looking at.
I mean, if you think about it, if you accept that we're being visited by aliens from another planet, and they have the power, the capability of traversing, large sections of the galaxy or whatever, they've got a lot of power, and they are not making themselves known to us. So they want to visit us, but they don't want to be visible. Yeah. Then the one place to set up a base that would make sense would either be the moon or Antarctica, wouldn't it?
Yeah, somewhere that's really inhospitable
To us,
and
that we
inaccessible
don't
to
go.
us.
I mean,
yeah,
well, you got a continent there. It's one of the largest continents on the planet. It's quite a bit bigger than Australia. So even if your base was, quite a big town size thing, we're not going to come across it. It's pretty unlikely that we are anyway.
So there's a picture lined up. So this again is something that was, I think, if memory serves me right, it was picked up on Google Earth.
It's one of those dune worms.
Yeah, but there's clear tracks, sort of, leading up to it. It's felt different theories that it's a crashed alien vessel, or it's actually a base, but I don't understand if it was a base why it would have a sort of trail leading behind it. But then there's something super interested related to this one photograph, because these conspiracy theorists that really track where have I gone? Where's the stream? These conspiracy theories that track Google Earth, they do a lot of marking the zones and going back and constantly looking at the same thing. And just a few weeks later, after that original image was shared, if you can bring up that next image, if you can zoom in, can you zoom in on that or not?
You'll have to do that. It's on your
hold on, let me just is that zooming in? So yeah, this did that zoom in? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
This image was found from the same spot where it looks like a lot of what we saw in the original image is being covered over with ice, but then what looks like 4 military tanks guarding it.
Is that the same place, is it?
Yeah, meant to be, I think. And I've got one last image to share that's recently come up. No, I think that's it. Yeah, that I believe is it. I've got a video that I can share in a minute, which I'd like to end on. But yeah, so you can see that there's been lots and lots of different activity going on and things that have been related to UFOs and Antarctica even since about the 1930s, even up to present day. And it's weird, that logical thought that you just went through just a minute ago. If you start off with the point of assuming that there are other species or other beings from other places or other dimensions visiting us, like where would they more likely want to go to be recluse and not be noticed or spotted? Obvious choices. On that note, let me end on this fabulous video. And the reason why I say fabulous video is because this is what brought me to sort of looking into Antarctica in the first place, really. Why is it not showing me? It's not showing me all the videos.
Talk amongst yourselves, people.
Yeah, sorry. Please don't say I've lost that one, or else I'll be a bit upset, because this is what I wanted to end on. So this was the video that originally made me want to look into the whole subject of Antarctica. No, I must have left it in the other folder. Bear with me, guys. Sorry.
It's okay. So whilst you're looking for it, I'll just cover the fact that this evening we've talked about PewDiePie owning Antarctica. We've talked about some of the actual scientific findings and some of the weird creatures they found there. We've talked about the possibility of lost civilizations and how Antarctica's been in the past. We've talked about the Piri-Reis map and the Bush map and how they show possibly how Antarctica looks under its ice sheet from a long time ago. We've talked about Nazi bases. We've talked about UFOs. We've covered quite a few things this evening, G.
Yeah, certainly have.
Have you found it yet?
No. Well, I definitely know that I've got it somewhere because I've just checked from the source from where I ripped it from, and it's there. It's just I'm now worrying why I can't find it. Bear with me. If I could just share it directly from the source.
What I would like to know is why that big section of Antarctica that PewDiePie's trying to claim, the unclaimed quarter type thing, why is it not claimed?
Yeah, that is another one of the big, there's just so much mystery with Antarctica, so many unanswered questions. It was worthwhile bringing it into this episode. Do you not agree? Let us know if you agree in chat and whether you've learned lots of new stuff about Antarctica. And let me leave you with this one. The video is lined up. This is what brought me to the subject of Antarctica. Thought this was really interesting, and I actually thought that the video analysis was pretty good as well.
Apologies
yeah,
if
it's
it
all lined
lags.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, we're going down to Antarctica. A gentleman by the name of Chuck shared a location with me right here. I'm going to take you to this location where you're going to see what appears to be a 60-foot wide disc sticking out of the ground, apparently being recently revealed by the melting snow and ice. And here we go. We're going straight to Antarctica in this video, and there's the object right there. Looks like it was intelligently designed. I'm going to measure it here in just a second. You're going to see it's 60 feet across the center. Half of it is under the ground. The other half is on top of what appears to be frozen snow and ice. And you can tell that this area, more than likely recently, began to thaw out, revealing this intelligently designed structure. That is not some random iceberg or, chunk of soil. That is a semicircle. It's a half of a circle stuck in the ground. You're going to see in this video, I take some screen grabs of this area. I enhance the photos of this disc. You're going to see what look like markings on the disc. You're going to see a round feature on the top that's very symmetrical. You can tell it's like the center part of the disc. The other half we can't see as it's stuck under the ground. You're going to see what looks like some sort of a residue on top of the ice that kind of go underneath. The residue tends to go underneath this object that is undeniably some sort of a disc. That is a intelligently designed structure in the middle of random snow and ice and soil and rocks. That is not random. That was definitely, in my humble opinion, after looking at it multiple times under multiple different enhancements, definitely a intelligently designed structure sticking out of the snow and ice in Antarctica. We're going back to the location here. I put together a slideshow of multiple different views of this object. You're going to see it right in here, and there's a little patch of snow and ice about 200 feet long, and it's right on the top of the ice, or at least half of it is. There's the coordinates right there, and that'll take you right to that disc in the ground. And here we're going to go in closer, and we're going to look at it, like I said, under multiple enhancements, and you're going to see what look like features on top of this very symmetrical structure that is 60 feet wide. We're going to stay at this angle for the most part of this presentation. You can start to see what look like features on top of what looks like a dark black structure, or dark gray. Doesn't fit in with the rest of the ground. Here you go. You can kind of see that that's definitely a much different color than anything else in the area, and it's out in the direct light. These are shadows, so you would expect those to be dark. Everything else is is lit up by the light. That is black or dark gray. And if you look at the top very closely, see the elevated circle on the top in the center? Got a very crisp edge around the outer edge of this object, and the other half is under the ground. And it's still got part of it on this snow and ice. See the residue right there? And you can see clearly some sort of a residue right here. That's something different. It's not snow and ice. There's something different right there. Very good view here. That's kind of in a negative format. Light is dark, dark is light. There's the object stuck right in the ground. You can tell it recently thawed, revealing something there that was of intelligent design. Origins really at this point unknown. We don't know if humans did this or if it came from somewhere else. Don't know how long it's been here. Here's a good look at it here. And again, this is just enhanced, not altered. You can go there and see it yourself. It's right there on top of the ice. Part of it stuck underneath the rock and soil. Super unique. Probably one of the best I think I've ever seen come out of Antarctica with regard to some sort of a machine that's clearly out of place. It doesn't look like it belongs in this area here at all. That's a good view of it there, at least color-wise. You can kind of see a reflection there. Nothing else is reflected in this area except that right there. See that? Kind of gives you an idea that that's made of metal, and you can see the round feature on the top, and obviously very crisp round edge. And there's probably some very unique things inside of that object right there that definitely looks like a disc or a saucer. Here it is at a slightly different angle. And we'll go back to this area, and you can see that this area over here is lower than this area over here by just about 2 or 3 feet. And it would explain the slight incline. Here it's heavily inclined because it's just a different angle. But there is an incline in the soil of about 3 feet, and the object appears to reflect just that, about a 3-foot incline as it goes into the ground, and the other half stays on top of the snow and ice. There's a good look at it there. Again, you can clearly tell that that's out of place. That's an intelligently designed structure that found its way into the snow and ice probably long, long ago in Antarctica. Here you can see the top, see the round feet.
I had to stop today. I don't know if you want to carry on watching. It's obviously been playing for a while, and it's got a few more minutes left.
I want to find it now.
Did you get the coordinates, did you?
Yeah, I didn't get all of them, but I've gone to 66 by 100, which will take me nearly there, but I can't quite. I'm in the right ballpark, but
I mean, the really interesting thing about some of this stuff that was, I think I honed in on when he said things like, this is one of the more interesting things that I've seen that's come out of Antarctica. And I was like, ooh, there's more come out of Antarctica. Let me have a look into it. And you know, it was certainly a very interesting video. But the thing with Antarctica is that there's a lot of areas that, you know, you would assume that it's snow all the time, but like any place, it has variants of season. You know, Dan, I think in chat earlier on was saying that it has winter months and it has winter peak months, and so there's areas that are covered in really thick snow and ice at times, and then much less snow and ice at times. You know, so it's a lot of things that can be buried for a long time and then be revealed. And, you know, I think what this guy's hinting at is that his theory is that this is something, when I first started looking at the video, I was like, oh, is this some sort of like the craft has landed in a cave and is trying to hide underneath the cave? But his sort of line of thinking is that, you know, it's been there for a long time and then been buried under the ice and rock and eventually just thawed out. But there's in some of those images in that video where I think you can see what looks like power cables coming off as well.
Power cables? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yep, can't find it.
Able to find it?
No, can't find it. I've tried to find it.
Well, maybe we'll look for it another time. If you're able to find it, we can always come back to it.
Yeah.
If UFO content coming up in this season 2, so we can bolt it into one of those episodes as it's related to this
Yes.
mysterious disc that has possibly been spotted.
Yeah, it'd be good. It would be
But I
good
wanted to
come
finish
back.
on that one. I
Yeah,
hope
it's cool.
I hope we've suitably brought some mysterious tales of Antarctica to the show this evening, and kind of shared some bits with you that maybe you weren't aware of, or maybe you were. But let us know what you're thinking. I did ask in chat, but yeah, let us know what you found interesting and what you think is just a load of nonsense, and what you think could possibly be real.
Did anybody end up joining you in Facebook?
Do you know what? I hadn't checked in about half an hour, and the last time I checked, nobody had. So I think what we'll do is maybe we'll not do Facebook next episode so that we can see if the stream's better, and then give me some time to sort of talk about it on Facebook and promote it, and then maybe around the third episode we'll try and do it again and see if we do get any audience. But
yeah, no worries.
But keep liking our videos, guys, and keep sharing them and with your friends and family if you can, promoting us. That would be really helpful. Just trying to get up to that milestone of 100.
Have we got? Should we share what we're planning on doing for the next episode?
Well, as my list is on my phone, and I'm currently using my phone as a camera, I can't check that at this time, but I think it was.
Or should we give the audience a couple of options and let them choose?
Oh, that could be risky because we have to choose episodes where we haven't got the inserts of doing on location stuff.
Right, yeah.
Because we can't rush it out in 2 weeks' time,
true.
I don't think. No. What we are planning to do, we've been very clever. We're going to do all of our on location shooting all at one time, and then feed it into the episodes as the season goes on.
Well, the plan for the next episode is Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay, I should have been researching that before now. I did say that I was going to get started on it, but I definitely need to get my head into that one.
So, if you're interested, checking out Skinwalker Ranch documentaries on Amazon Prime, get genned up, and that's going to be the topic for the next Monte Zone.
I think that episode's going to be very freaky and scary and have lots of ugly images and scary images. Yeah.
Maybe not one for.
Well, have you enjoyed tonight's show, Monty?
I have. Yeah, it's been interesting. Yes, not a topic I knew a lot about going into, but yeah, it was.
There's a lot, right?
Yeah, it was a lot.
I mean, there's still loads of stuff that originally I pointed out that there's this whole thing about cave in Greenwich, and there's this other 14-mile structure that appeared in 2012.
Yeah, you talked about the cave.
No, not that cave. This is a different cave. So there's like multiple caves.
Oh.
But yeah, that's what I mean. There's just so much content. You could definitely come back to this.
Yeah. I mean, we filled the 2 hours. So that was good.
Yeah. Right, guys. Well, I guess it remains for us to say have a great. Huh?
Sorry, I was going to say I hope everyone's excited about the Skinwalker Ranch idea of covering that as the next topic. Hopefully, that should get people excited to be talking about that. Let us know if you are. But yes, you were saying your goodbyes, G.
Yeah, I was just going to wish everybody a great weekend, and hope you enjoy it.
Yep.
What you got?
Sorry, mate.
You doing any Fortnite streams over the weekend?
No. I was supposed to be last night, but I ended up having to get my son dinner in the middle of a live stream, and it turned out he's not feeling very well, and I had to keep him off school today. He's a bit poorly, so I ended up looking after my son last night rather than playing Fortnite. But that's just what you have to do, isn't it?
Well, I'll send Al pal our love.
Yep,
and
will do.
Hope he gets better soon.
Will do. We've taken our puppy Chewy for his second injection this week, so we're going to be taking him out for a walk on the moors.
He's safe to get out there and party with other dogs, right?
Yeah. They said it's best to still be sensible. He's got to have a kennel cough jab next week, so don't go mad. But if you take him to out of the way places and things, it's good to get him out and about. So we're gonna. If the weather's good tomorrow, we're gonna take him out for a walk.
Excellent.
So,
well, I hope it goes well.
Yes. Thank you, Mickey, Dan, Karen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Smiler
Daniel.
Rainbow, Daniel,
And
Becky. Yes. Thank you for contributing, coming and saying hello and contributing to our chats this evening. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Cheers.